Producers, I know I'm a little bit late, but Snapback by Cableguys and BT is actually truly impressive. It is an audio effect. It can add so much to your kicks, your snares, and a lot more. You can actually build your own kicks and snares with it. You can do an external side chaining. You can even use it on full drum loops and just target kicks and snares. I'm gonna show you how to do it all coming up in this video, so let's jump in. All right, so I got DC snares on the channel here. That's what it sounds like. Very good, snappy snare, but what I want is that little bit of snapback. The cool thing, the thing that I find so cool about this is it's an audio effect, not an instrument. So DC snares is an instrument triggering a snare, but snapback is an audio effect that can put that little bit of snapback before the snare on the instrument channel, which I think is phenomenal. So we can see the snare popping up there, and all we need to do is find a snapback. So let's do... And that's how easy it is, right? Then we have a filter. Perhaps it's a little bit too muddy or the low end is too much. I love the attack here. It actually shows you the squishing of it. We can zoom out a little bit. Or we can really zoom in and we can see like where the crossover is happening. And it's the same thing with the transient. If we come in here, just add some noise to the top. All right. Let's actually zoom out. You can see it. I love that. Or you can actually just see the whole thing as an output, but I kind of like it with the 3 colors. Now, obviously, that's way too much, so I might turn it down. And again, adjust the decay. And it's that simple. The one thing, if I could give one piece of advice here, I just think it'd be really cool to be able to move this to the left and the right, or like drag up and down to zoom in and zoom out a little more fluidly. But it doesn't matter. The detail is there. It's really nice. And that's a much better snare already. That's brilliant. I might turn this down just a little bit. Now, on top of just the snapback, it might be cool to automate some of these parameters inside the plugin to add even more flavor and ear candy to your track. Most of these parameters are automatable in your DAW, so something that is done quite often, especially in hip hop and other breakbeat styles, is the snapback part will actually be longer for some snares and shorter for the others. So for example, let's say that we want the snapback for the first snare to be a little bit longer than the one on the second one. What I can do is just pull this up. So you can see it's a little bit different. It's just going to add a little bit of flavor, a little bit of ear candy, and it's something you might want to do if you like that sort of thing. All right, so that's your snares, and kicks pretty much work the same way. I've got a kick down here. It's the same thing. This is a kick from an instrument called Kick Ninja, and if I just put snapback on it, I would say kicks and snares are going to be the most places that get this sort of snapback, but by all means, go crazy. So what I would say for a kick, it would be super short, and I'd pull it down a bunch. So what does that sound like in the context of everything? Probably too much. And of course, so many audio sources to choose from, and you can drag in your own. Now, maybe the kick needs a little bit of transient or a little bit of sizzle on top. Let's see what happens. Texture is probably good. Just giving it a little bit of top end there to make the kick stand out in the mix. So we've been using it as an audio effect, but we can set up external sidechain routing and trigger it with MIDI and actually build our own kicks instead of adding it to already existing ones. Now, another cool thing we could do is drop Snapback on its own channel and send input from, let's say, DC snares. Again, we want to make a snare drum. We can actually make a snare drum. We don't need to add this effect to a snare drum. And if I go ahead and play right now, nothing's happening. You can see down here that I'm getting the input from DC snares in the sidechain here, but nothing's happening in Snapback. But if I open up Trigger and turn on sidechain, look at, I'm seeing it, and it's correctly detecting where it should happen. And if I come in here and turn on Snapback, I'm starting to get it. And if I come in here, the snare, we can actually choose something from here. You get it? Yeah, so if then I come in again, adjust my volume and my attack. And it's the same thing with kicks. We got a bunch of audio options or audio sources, samples to choose from. But of course, you can import your own samples as well. So you can really make a lot. Now let's talk about using Snapback on full drum loops. Because obviously up till now, I've been using it on instruments, which is actually super cool. But what if you have a full drum loop that already has hats and snares and even kicks? Well, Snapback has you covered. So this is an audio sample, and this isn't just a snare or anything. You can see that it's got a lot of different things happening. So let's zoom out a little. So what if I just wanted to trigger? If I turn on Snapback right now, so that might be a little too much, especially when it repeats right there, that might be a little bit too much. So a cool thing they've added, if you open up the trigger here, one, you can set your algorithm and it's automatically detected drums, which is great. We can see detail. We got a lot of options here, but what we really want to do is adjust the threshold. So now just the snares are getting the green there. That means that's what will trigger the Snapback. And I'm just gonna... And that's it. So now we're just getting the snare there. I think that's amazing. And that's a beautiful thing. So shout out to BT, shout out to Cableguys. What a collaboration. What a truly unique audio effect. And I just love to see innovation like this. Adding these sorts of things to your drums can be quite tedious, but this makes it a breeze, and anything that's saving my time while giving me great results is always a win in my book. All right, so there you go. There's a bunch you can do with Snapback. I love the innovation here. I've never seen a plugin like it. This technique is something that I'm familiar with. And as I've said a million times on the channel, having something that makes things that are great easier in my workflow is always a win. So click the link, check it out. And as usual, I'm Joshua Casper, and I'll see you in the next video.